peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good afternoon, Nairobi. Good afternoon, the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the United Kingdom in London, on our way with the conference underway, which has just taken place. It is taking place. Some of the committees are still in making the final touches. Good afternoon, all of you, wherever you are across the globe watching us. This is Punchline Africa Television from the capital city of the United Kingdom in London. Thank you very much. Viewers, wherever you are, the situation on the continent of Africa presents another scenario where we have to talk about our continent. We have just been at the COP conference, which has just concluded in which is going on, and other people, committee members will be there to make resolutions and so on and so forth. But most of the delegations seem to be partying and packing their bags to go back. Heads of states are packing their bags to go back to their countries. What have we achieved in this COP conference? That is the question for another day. But the question for the day today is Ethiopia. This is Diplomatic Leaks, brought to you by Miriam Ogutu and Dr. David Matanga, right from the heart of civilization of the United Kingdom in London. I am right now in London on my way to another assignment over Maiden in the Middle East, where I will pass through before arriving wherever my destination will be. Thank you very much, viewers across the globe. Get tuned and let's go, Miriam. Ethiopia today presents a very bad challenge to the people. It's the ill child of Africa. The troops that are Tigray, TPLF, and the Oromo Liberation Front are heading towards the capital city of Addis Ababa. It is our city. It's the city of the African people because our headquarters is headquartered in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa. Emperor Haile Selassie, the founding father of the Organization of African Unity, would today change his twice in the grave when he sees Ethiopia that he coined it, put it together, coined it as one coin, disintegrating into several pieces. Is this the new policy? Is this war a proxy war? Is this the war against Africa? Is Africa ready for this war? Is this our war, Miriam? Are we the ones who have made Eritrea fight? Are we join the hands with Ethiopia to fight Tigray forces? Who is behind this war? Whose war is it? These are the questions that we seek to answer this afternoon with the panel that will join us. Good afternoon, Miriam. Back to you in the studios in Nairobi. Thank you very much. This is live from London, United Kingdom, where we attended the COP conference, which I addressed the conference last week, a pre-conference, and I think most of the African leaders have taken a cue of my decision, my speech. It is very clear, you can get it wherever it is. Africa is not yet part of the globalization. That's why we have this war right now. Over to you, back in the studio, Miriam.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for that introduction indeed. So the latest from Ethiopia is that Ethiopia's cabinet on Tuesday declared a nationwide state of emergency after Tigrayan rebels seized two crucial towns in apparent push towards the capital state, affiliated media has reported. Lawmakers are expected to approve the measure within 24 hours. In recent days, the TPLF has claimed control of two key cities about 400 kilometers from Addis Ababa and has not ruled out marching on the capital, which has so far not seen any fighting. The government has denied claims of TPLF territorial gains, which, if confirmed, would represent a major strategic advance. Much of northern Ethiopia is under communications blackout and access of journalists is restricted, making battlefield claims difficult to verify independently. Earlier on Tuesday, officials ordered Addis Ababa residents to register their arms and prepare to defend their neighborhoods. So, Doc, yesterday as we were watching this unfolding events from Ethiopia, I think a war that has been going on now, tomorrow, that will be the 4th, will be a year, because it started last year, and November 4th will be 1 year since this conflict started between the government of Abiy Ahmed and the northern part of the country, that is the Tigrayan region. And to hear Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed now calling on civilians and asking them to arm themselves, is this a man that is desperate, and is this a man that sounds to be more like under siege? You are muted.
Sometime back, Miriam, I predicted this war before the collapse or the start of the collapse of Ethiopia. 6 months ago, I told you that it was a very terrible mistake for the Prime Minister of Ethiopia to shake hands with the President of Eritrea, because I have been a friend of the 4 presidents. That all of them who have been president. Zenawi was my friend. Ifaki Zenawi was Ifaki Zayat was my friend. Dr. Tedros was my friend. We all were in London, where I am now. They were together, we are working together in Highbury, in one office, where the British government gave us an office. It is very, very naive. It was very naive for anybody. It is very naive for anybody to think that there was going to be peace. One of the things why we rejected, why Zenawi rejected anything to do with Esaias, is that Esaias was not, from 1987, we were together in London. Esaias was never a good guy at all. The problem of Ethiopia is linked to proxy wars. There's a proxy war being fought by the Western powers. Another one is being fought by Egypt and Sudan. And then we have Ethiopia and Somalia on one side. And these are all neighboring Kenya, which is a very dangerous situation. And I believe the people of Kenya and the security apparatus of the Republic of Kenya will understand that this is time now to defend their borders, because there will be a spillover from this war. The war is not taking a right direction. I was very, very right, and I predicted that Ethiopia will collapse. Miriam, the rebels are on the way to Addis Ababa. TPLF is being supported by the countries that you know very well, including the United States of America. And Egypt is pushing. Sudan is pushing the other tribe, which is Amram, a tribe which is not Tigray. They are also capturing territory. And then Oromo Liberation Front is on the footing. So I predicted this. The African heads of state that are in Addis Ababa or who are meeting right now, wherever they are, this is a situation that we must come in to make sure that Africa does not collapse to chaos. Miriam, it is a grave situation that we must act on. Thank you.
All right. And you've brought in the issue of other interests that could be fueling this war. And you've mentioned the Western powers. So what could be their interest in Ethiopia?
First of all, there is something to do with Ethiopia. The Ethiopian economy was working so well. The Ethiopian economy was one of the best of the economies. Now and the days of the other prime minister, the former prime minister, things worked so well. And I tell you, Miriam, things changed as soon as the two left the scene. Ethiopia started having internal squabbles, political squabbles, and the squabbles that actually which ignited the rivalry between the two tribes of Tigray and the other Oromo and Amra. Now these tribes form part of Ethiopian, what we call border politics. So in a situation of that nature, which is very fragile, which is happening in some of the states, and the people in Kenya must be very, very careful in the sense that you are also heading towards an election, which is sharpening the angle of states. The tongues are sharpening, where you see the deputy president saying he is the only one who should actually lead that country. We are going there. We are moving towards that stage if you are not careful. So what happened in Ethiopia is that the state started taking sides. People have taken sides. The Western world is supporting the Tigrayans, and the Tigrayans are being supported by the Western world to dismember their own state. And then we have Turkey, which has just come in. Turkey has just come in the war. Turkey is supporting Ethiopia. It has given Ethiopia arms, planes, sophisticated planes, and a sophisticated armory, which is being used to hit the rebels of Tigray. And then when on top of that, you see Somalia, Eritrea, and other states joining hands to fight the Tigrayan rebels. This is something that the African Union should call a quick and decisive summit that will discuss the Ethiopian crisis before Ethiopia falls to the hands and we lose our headquarters of African Union.
All right, so the latest is a report that was presented to the United Nations Security Council, and all sides in Ethiopia's Tigray conflict have violated international human rights, some of which may amount to crimes against humanity. A new report now states a joint investigation by the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission and the United Nations Human Rights Office said there could also be evidence of war crimes. The war, as I said earlier, they broke on 4th of November 2020. It started when Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy ordered an offensive against regional forces in Tigray. Now, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet, said the conflict had been marked by extreme brutality and called for a lasting ceasefire. The report details a series of violations and abuses, including unlawful killings and extrajudicial executions, torture and sexual and gender-based violence, violations against refugees and forced displacements of civilians. And they fell short of calling it a genocide. And there was a response from the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who was not happy by that report. And I think he expressed it through a tweet. So would this new information now, because of what we've been knowing, but now this has been presented to the United Nations Security Council, are we likely to see more punitive sanctions towards the government of Ethiopia and maybe the Tigrayan side are the forces who are also been accused of committing these crimes against humanity?
Miriam, first of all, I would like to tell you that what has happened exactly now in Ethiopia is that the African countries on the United Nations Security Council did not come out clearly. Kenya is one of the states on the United Nations Security Council as a non-rotational member of the United Nations Security Council. And Kenya did not come out clearly to say which position. They stood on a position of allowing an internal mechanism, an African solution for African problems. But it seems that, you remember when I predicted and I said, I talked on one of the largest Sky News, which called me, which picked my bite. I said, African problems can be solved by Africa if they are small. But the problem of Ethiopia is huge, and it will be very difficult for the Ethiopian government to solve this problem internally without involving United Nations Security Council. The United Nations Security Council has sat and watched, has made reports while the people in Tigray are being slaughtered by the mighty army of Ethiopia using Turkey as their basis of killing the innocent, committing genocide, using Somalia. On the other flank, Somali troops were found in Tigray. What were they doing there? They were fighting, they were killing people, they slaughtered people. It is a genocide indeed. But what have we done? What have we watched? We have watched it as it moves, we have watched it as it plays, we have watched it as it engulfs and creates and becomes bigger and bigger day in, day out. So in situations like this, Miriam, you don't blame anybody else other than ourselves.
All right. So now Ethiopia's government has already declared a nationwide state of emergency as war intensifies in several regions of the country. The government had earlier urged people in the capital Addis Ababa to arm themselves as rebels from the northern Tigray region advanced to the south. Doc, are we seeing a making of a civil war, and is this another Somalia in the making here?
Yes, you are quite right, Miriam. It is another Somalia in the making in north of Kenya. So if Kenya is having two neighbors, actually there will be three neighbors where there is an armed struggle. You remember the Sudan, South Sudan, then Ethiopia, then Somalia on the east, Ethiopia in the north, and the South Sudan in the northwest. This is a situation that has compelled the Inspector General of Police of Kenya just a few minutes ago. He sent me a document, which I think you have seen right now. Have you seen that document? Yes, you have the document with you in the studio. I have just received it from the Inspector General of Police of Kenya saying they have now issued an alert. If you don't have anything to go in Ethiopia, don't go there, because the situation is becoming very precarious for the borders, border crossings, and for our nationals, the nationals of Kenya, not to cross into Ethiopia for now. The rebel forces are advancing from all directions, so you could be caught up in crossfire. The Inspector General of Police has alerted the Kenyan public, and we want to loud the Inspector General of Police and the security agencies, the national intelligence systems of Kenya and others. Comrades, thank you very much for doing a great job for alerting the Kenyans that the situation in Ethiopia is precarious. Therefore, it also impacts greatly on our elections. With Kenya hold elections when neighbors are fighting, with this fight not overspill on the question of the Kenyan territory. How stable shall we be while we are voting? The areas in Kenya, some of them will be under heavy attack from the militias that have been waiting to attack and maybe cause mayhem in Kenya.
All right, so the African Union has already issued a statement in regards to the developments in Ethiopia, and overall the chairperson is now calling for the full and immediate cessation of hostilities. So I'll just read a part of it and just get to know what Musa Muhammad Faki is now saying. Now, the chairperson recalls his statement of 9th November 2020 and once again urges all parties to safeguard the territorial integrity, unity, and national sovereignty of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. He further urges the party to engage in a dialogue to seek a peaceful solution in the interest of the country. So we see Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed might not be seeking to have a peaceful solution when you hear him asking even civilians to arm themselves and to prepare and to fight, the adversaries that he's saying are going to now beginning to make their way into perhaps the capital. So what will be the best solution in this situation moving forward?
Miriam, thank you very much for that question. The African Union comes in too late, plays lip service, does very little, is just a paper tiger. These things are happening in Ethiopia. I have people corresponding to me, telling me phoning me from Ethiopia, diplomats who are trying to get out of that capital. The African Union has been seeing this coming. They saw it. Why didn't they call an emergency meeting, summit for the African heads of state to put down pressure on the rebels of Oromo Liberation Front and the Tigray People's Liberation Front to come on a round table? The African Union is already captured. The African Union has been captured by France. They have taken it. We don't have it. So anybody wishing that the African Union will do anything very positive must be mentally derailed on this continent of Africa. And I don't think they are worth even mentioning. If African Union, that man you are talking about called Musa Faki, Mohamed Faki, I saw him in Glasgow on last week. I mean, he's useless. He's a useless guy who has taken up, who has sold African Union to the French, and the French are the ones part of the problem that we have now in Ethiopia. They are part of it. They are playing a part. They are playing a silent part. They are delivering weapons. They are doing everything to the rebels. It is sad that today, Africa, we don't have a voice on the global situation. It is sad, therefore, Miriam, that when you talk about African Union, which African Union? Which one? The one that we know, you and I, the one that has been making mistakes on every election in Africa, including the election of the current chairman of DRC Congo, Tshisekedi. African Union said, we don't want any African country to go there to legitimize the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And yet, Miriam, African Union sent observers for an election in Democratic Republic of Congo. So what type of African Union are you talking about? The African Union died the day Mugabe died. I think we lost Mugabe. Mugabe was one of the voices that used to speak for African Union. President Uhuru Kenyatta has done his best. He speaks for Africa. He brings the level of Africa to a higher level. I am very impressed with the way he has spoken on matters of climate change. I am very impressed of how he has handled the African issues on behalf of the rest of Africa. But the point here is this: when will Africa rise up and pick up the challenge that we have? Are we capable? We are not. For example, look at the wars that are coming. This wars retard our climate. This was erase ecosystems. When people are fighting, they are destroying the ecosystems. The question of Ethiopia also springs to an ecosystem, a climate change. Ethiopia has dug a dam that can consume the whole White Nile. No, Blue Nile, I think it's Blue Nile, is it? One of the Niles is Blue Nile. If you look at the dam that has taken the water to deprive of Egypt water, this is one of the conflict. It has triggered this conflict and the enmity between Ethiopia and Egypt, to the extent that now Egypt is fueling, has come in, it has got a chance, it has given the rebels. And that is why the question I asked, whose war is it? Is it our war? Is it their war? Who is the proxy here? Who is fighting the proxy war? The Tigrayans are fighting a proxy war against the Ethiopians. But Ethiopians called for the proxy war themselves because they didn't listen to the rest of Africa. The rest of Africa said the water can be discussed. River Nile is for all of us. It springs from Uganda. For example, Uganda cannot start building a dam anywhere without the consent of the other states that you contribute or that benefit from the River Nile. We cannot build any extra dam. But here we are, Ethiopia went ahead, the dam is filling up. What will happen in the future for Egypt and other lower parts of Sudan where the river passes? We shall have famine, we shall have hunger, we shall have economic hardship because they all depend on River Nile. It has forced Egypt to look somewhere else in Congo forest, DRC Congo, maybe to dig a tunnel all the way from Congo forest, to divert River Congo to come to join in Egypt through Chad and arrive in Egypt. That is something that Africans should sit down and look at. Do we want to fight? Do we want to have a war? Will this war affect us? Whose war is it? Miriam, is a proxy war, and it has brought super countries now on the stage heading towards Addis Ababa.
All right. And lastly, Doc, IGAD appointed South Sudan's President Salva Kiir just a couple of weeks ago to be the mediator in the crisis that is ongoing now in Ethiopia. First of all, I thought that was a bad idea. As it is right now, Salva Kiir has enough problems at home, so I don't know what he's been doing, but from what is happening in Ethiopia, clearly nothing much has been going on there in terms of his mediating efforts. So if we cannot have an Africa solution in this regard, what is happening right now in Ethiopia, who could be the right person or the right institution or the right body to come in and help with an effective mediation process as we conclude?
Before you conclude, there are several points that I want to make, but let me answer this question of yours. You said which country should be the mediator?
Which country, which institution, which body could do? But for right now, it is Salva Kiir, who was appointed by IGAD. Bad idea for the start.
Miriam, I think you have already classified. It's indeed a very bad idea for South Sudan to be the one mediating the conflict in Ethiopia, because South Sudan itself has a mirage, is a mirage peace, a peace without peace, you know. You call it peace without peace. There is no peace in South Sudan. Anytime it will collapse. Anytime, because nobody has funded the peace process. Nobody has funded the containment area for the soldiers. Soldiers have left the containment areas. They have gone. They have gone with guns. Let's just prepare for another showdown. I was talking to Dr. Yakamacha a few weeks ago. Actually, I did not tell you. I talked to him. He said, Dr. Matanga, there is no money to run the peace process. And the money is not there. The world is not giving South Sudan any money to run the peace process. I am telling you, we are in a disaster. So when you tell me South Sudan is the one that is going to mediate the conflict of Ethiopia, sharp as it is, you are only telling them they are going to be part of supplying troops. I think they are negotiating to supply troops to fight on the side of another. You know very well South Sudan is not very friendly. Salva Kiir is not friendly to Ethiopia because Ethiopia supported Riek Machar. Therefore, we have a problem there already, Miriam. Regional politics, I am the expert. You can ask me. They supported, Salva Kiir was supported by South Sudan, Sudan and Eritrea and
but for
Ethiopia.
right now, there seems to be in good terms, but Ethiopia has been having a tussle with Sudan. So when Sudan initially offered itself as a mediator, Ethiopia said no, but they have no problem with Salva Kiir mediating the process.
Yeah, but let me ask you, is that an enmity going away overnight? South Sudan, Ethiopia, yeah. Ethiopia, where were the rebels of Riek Machar? They were based where? Where were they getting supplies? They were getting supplies from the Ethiopian army. Who is the commander of the Ethiopian army? Have you seen him? You know who he is? I know him personally. He's my friend. He's from Oromo. He's an Oromo man. In fact, he's a darker guy, tall, from the Oromo tribe. And they have been working hand in hand with South Sudan, the rebels. So when you tell me that Salva Kiir is negotiating, it is IGAD always comes in with very serious, arrangement. Why don't we hand this problem directed to the United Nations Security Council.
Okay.
Me, on the question of Sudan, I have said it should be handed over and be mandated state, because a country that cannot pay its dues is as useless as a country that is dead and does not need to be on the map of Africa. So why can't we have it mandated under the United Nations mandate, which allows the United Nations to govern, to supervise, and arrange for the free and fair elections? Why are we waiting for that? Why are we waiting? We are waiting for another explosion of the war that will take place in that region. So all in all, Africa has always been its own enemy. All in all, Africa has killed itself. Every time you look left, Africa dies. You look right, Africa dies. Before I finish the COP conference, what did we achieve in the COP conference? First of all, I would want to congratulate President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta of Kenya for the speech that he made, for the type of the words that all of us, men of international repute, scholars like us, men who have read African politics, welcomed on the question of COP26. Mr. President, thank you very much. Thank you for that speech. I want also to take this opportunity to thank President Emerson Mnangagwa for the first time to step in the United Kingdom and then speak. Lay your ground, your timetable to the people of the world. Your Excellency, President Emerson Mnangagwa, thank you, my brother. Thank you very much for doing a great job. You have come, you have seen, you have conquered. Now keep the pace to make sure that you don't go back to the days of sanctions being imposed on you by Britain and the European Union. Let's keep the pace of reforms. Let's keep the pace of, keep the decorum of democracy. Keep it to the level. You have allowed a lot of media, which is very good, which can both be public and destroy you, or can improve the situation in Zimbabwe. I thank you, Mr. President. I thank you for the good work that you have done. I want to take the opportunity to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta specifically for raising many of the complaints that Africans had, and they were hidden. We are not the polluters, Miriam. We have never polluted. Have we polluted anybody's continent? No. Have we? How many Africans have gone to China to dig a hole, a borehole? Have you ever gone there? Can you be even allowed to dig a borehole in China? But China comes to put a road. It doesn't care about the pollution. Medium, if you look at most of the roads that we are building in most of African countries, some of them don't have emergency exits. They don't have. If you are caught on the fire, catches you on the Mombasa Road, have you not seen that there is nowhere to run? Where will you run, Miriam? You must leave the car and maybe try to run. If you can run, if you're a marathoner like a Kipchoge, maybe you can escape the fire. So some of the things are here, they are self-made, self-inflicted, but all in all, Africa has tried its level best. We don't have our own resources. We rely on the resources that come from the West. Therefore, we shall work with them from time to time. We shall engage them from time to time. We shall make it a personal venture. We shall make it, we call upon investors to come, investors who can come, not to bring us war, not to bring us arms. We don't need arms in Africa at the moment because we don't need them. They can't help us. Out of 1 billion people, only 6% million of our population, 6% of Africa population is vaccinated. And we are told yesterday, I saw somewhere in Wall Street, where an article saying, this guy of Microsoft, saying that another pandemic is on the way, will be on the way. And my question is, Did these people arrange this pandemic? Did they arrange pandemics? If he is telling us that another one is on the way, we don't know how it will look like. Are we safe? Are we safe? As I could ask, whose hands are safe? Which hands would you fall in? You fall in the hands of our former colonial masters, or do we fall in the hands of the new rulers of Africa? Which hands are we safe as human beings, centered in the middle? We are at the peril of God. We ask God to keep us alive all the time. Miriam, that is our message. The message is regime change, which is wrong, which is premised on a very dangerous route of George Soros' arrangement of paying. You see, this problem of Ethiopia started with the elections, started with mamas with opposition, who was paying the opposition to disintegrate Ethiopia. Today, look at the opposition. And it comes back to Kenya for you people in Kenya who are Kenyans. You can see your opposition. There is somebody has arranged a fleet of cars. You have not questioned where this car, the money from Mudavadi, where did he get the money to buy these cars? Who is giving him the money? These are some of the things that bring a conflict. Now you are waiting until 2022, the August, Miriam. Then you will come to question, how did the money come about? Where did he get a man who said he did not have, was even selling his building in town? He wanted to sell the building in town to buy, to be able to support himself. You saw that report. Now today he has a fleet of cars in preparation for 2022. Of course, we can't question Ruto's ability of money because we know where the source is. It has been there for constantly. But when you look at Mudavadi, where did he get that money? And that is exactly what we should be thinking about to avoid a conflict similar to that of Ethiopia. Because Ethiopian conflict did not start today. It started with elections. It started with opposition being locked up. It started with demonstrations. Opposition wanting to say we don't have space. We can't breathe. There is no air to breathe in Ethiopia. It ended up in what we call Tigray, running away from the main Ethiopia media. So these are some of the things, the key issues that we must look at as Africans and understand with the elections in Kenya. Therefore, and I believe that tomorrow's topic, you think with the letter of the Inspector General of Police that has just been given out, warning us that the neighboring countries, there is turmoil. We already have a standoff between Somalia and Kenya on the Indian Ocean. They are talking, but we don't know whether it will bear fruits. But it's just a talking, it's a postponement, Miriam, of the problem. Yes.
Okay.
So that is, so far, unless there is any additional question that you want to ask.
No.
Since we still have a good 20 minutes, I would like to take this opportunity and take 5 minutes to thank you and those who helped me. Just a minute, Miriam. I would like to, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and
all right.
Yeah, just a minute. I'm opening something that I'd prepared to say thank you to you people. That is not is opening now. So, Miriam, since last week, we have been focusing on climate change. We have looked at Africa. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody, people who supported me. I want to thank all my friends whom I cannot mention here, who have supported me to come to this place. I want also to take the opportunity to thank Chatham House and the Institute of International Strategic Studies that enabled me to slot in to talk about the globalization unit, which is very, very important when Africa is part of globalization. I want to thank the government of Kenya for having presented themselves in big numbers. They are all here. They are all around in the United Kingdom. As this conference comes to a conclusion, therefore, what lessons do we take home? I want to thank the people of Africa that the lessons will be seen in reality. Paperwork has been done. Resolutions have been made. But are we going to follow what is supposed to be done as Africans? I thank you very much. My crew back in Punchline Africa Television in Nairobi, all of you from the technical team, many of you there working day and night. Miriam, thank you very much for holding the fort. I pray that I will see you again. Thank you very much across Africa. Those watching me from Glasgow in Scotland, thank you very much. I am ahead. I have left, and I will be departing for another destination in the Middle East, and then we shall be communicating from there. Miriam, I thank you very much for all what you have done. I thank the people of Zimbabwe who turned up large numbers to see their president for the first time coming into the European soil in Britain. I thank you very much. I dedicate this and the rest. This station, therefore, Miriam, is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.